All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to show you how to do the problems in Module 1, Lesson 8, Independent Practice. Let's put our title on the page and our name and get started. Number 1. Of the following, which is the closest in value to 0.69? So we have a target, 0.69, and we want to know which is closest. Well, we are going to have to do some long division. A is 2/3. We're going to do long division because at this point in your math career, you probably have not memorized these easy fractions yet. I have a lot of these memorized from working with them a lot. It will be easier for you to just memorize a bunch of these, but for now, we're going to do this the long way. 2 divided by 3. And I know that this is going to give me a lot of decimals, so I'm giving myself some room here. 3 cannot go into 2, so we put a 0, put our decimal, and put another 0 here. 3 goes into 20 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18 with a remainder of 2. Look at that. We're back to our original number of 2. Let's add a 0, bring it down, and we have our 20 again. So 6 times 3 is 18, and I get 2 again. I could keep showing you that this is going to continue, but I'm just going to add in a bunch of these 6's and say dot, dot, dot. Now, if you want to say what 2/3 is equal to, 2/3 is equal to 0.6 repeating. To show it's repeating, you put a little bar over it. If you are going to round this off, you would say 2/3 is about 0.67. This means you rounded it off. The 6 behind this 6 caused it to round up. Let's look at B, because this is not super close to 0.69. We can probably find something closer, but let's see. 1/2, that's 1 divided by 2. Some of you might have that memorized. You can just go ahead and put equals that number there. Otherwise, we're going to do this the long way. 1 divided by 2, put a 0, put our decimal place, and put a 0 under the bar here. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10, and I have no remainder. So 1/2 equals 0.5. Actually 0.67 is closer to 0.69 than 0.5 is. Let's keep going. C, 3/5. I do not have this one memorized, so let's do this. 3 divided by 5, put the 0, put the decimal and the 0. 5 goes into 30. Oh, this one's easier than I anticipated. 0.6. So 30, 0 remainder, 3/5 equals 0.6. That's an easy one. I don't know why I forgot that. All right. Out of these, 0.67 or 0.6 repeating is still closer than these two. Let's look at our last option, 3/4. I do have this one memorized, and we looked at this one on our last homework or our last independent practice. Let's go ahead and do it for anyone who did not watch that video. So 4 goes into 3 0 times, put a decimal, add a 0 under the division bar, and 4 goes into 30 times 7 is 28, and then I have a 2 remaining. Bring down another 0, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20, and I have a 0 remainder, so 3/4 equals 0.75. Okay. So which of these is closest? It is, of course, the 0.6 repeating, because that's much closer than any of these. If I need to draw that out on a number line, send me a message, let me know, but we're just going to go ahead and go with it. A is the closest. Okay, let's look at number 2, and I have a feeling we're going to use a lot of paper for all this long division. What is the proper way to record the decimal version of 2/3? Oh, proper way to, write 2/3 as a decimal. That's funny. I just talked about it. So A says 0.6. That's wrong. We're leaving off a whole bunch of numbers that go off into infinity. B, 0.66. That's wrong. We're leaving off a whole bunch of numbers that go off into infinity. C, 0.67. Kinda, because this number caused the 7 to round up. So, okay, that could be it. D, 0.66666. It keeps going, and then a bunch of decimals. I would say this one tells you the real answer, the closest number to what 2/3 is. It actually does represent the fact that this goes off into infinity. However, you don't need to write that many. You can just write the first one, 0.6 with a bar over it. In looking at the answer document, it says that it's actually A. So I suspect that at one point when this worksheet was first created, there was a bar over it to show that it is a repeating decimal, and somehow that bar disappeared. Because we can see that 0.6, if we go back to this problem, is actually 3/5. And 3/5 is not the same as 2/3. So to say that A is the correct answer is totally wrong. So the answer key's wrong because it's missing that bar over the top. If this was a test, I would accept C or D if you explained why. You could say, yes, if we round to nearest hundredth. For D, yes, for most accurate. Or we could say, or E, 0.6 with a bar over it. This is also most accurate. And bonus, it doesn't have a lot to write. It's quick. So I suspect that the answer key originally had a bar over the 6 here, and that somehow when it got converted into a Google Doc, that disappeared. But this C, D, or E, as I wrote them here, if you explained why. Okay? Let's look at number 3. The decimal part of a swimming race time was 0.602 seconds. Convert this decimal to a fraction and then reduce to the simplest form. Okay, well, 0.602. You first need to know what the different places are. Well, the first one after the decimal place is the tenths. The second one is the hundredths. And the third place is the thousandths. And notice it's THS, THS, THS. That tells us that it's after the decimal. So we are going to put 602 over 1,000. So 602 over 1,000, and then simplify. Well, immediately I can see that these are both even numbers, so I can divide the top and the bottom, divide the top and the bottom by 2. 602 divided by 2 is 301. 1,000 divided by 2 is 500. So I don't immediately see anything else we can do to simplify this. This is not divisible by 3. This is not divisible by 3. Neither one of these neither one of these are even number. Well, this is an even number, but this one's not. So I think we're stuck. I think this is going to be as simplified as we can go. So let's see what number this is. This is letter D. And that's it. Number 4. When calculating her percentage in her English class, Missy divided her points by the number of points possible, and her result was 0.703. Cassie said that this was not actually a percentage. What is the correct percentage form of this decimal? Okay, so she got a score on her test. Let's say her score was X, right? So she got a test and she got X out of, I don't know, 100. Okay? So she took her score, divided it by 100, and got 0.703. She wants to turn that into a percent. Well, all you have to do is multiply it by 100 and put the percent sign on it. When you multiply by 100, you just get to move the decimal 2 places. So this is 70.3%. That is number or letter B. Okay, and number 5. A recent study found that 76.1% of people surveyed were able to name one of the characters in William Shakespeare's King Lear, other than the title character. What is the decimal equivalent of this percent? Well, we are going to do the exact opposite of what we did in number 4. We are now going to divide by, I'll write it out. We're going to divide by 100%, and I actually like to write this as a fraction, 76.1 divided by 100%, and this part's kind of fun. I like to cancel out the percents and then move the decimal 2 places, 1, 2, and so our answer is 0.761. That is A. All right, another one done.